Hi, my name is Nikita and welcome to It's Pretty Simple, a place where I'm going to talk about fitness, fat loss, nutrition, and life. The goal here is to make all these concepts extremely uncomplicated and take complex theories and explain them to you in very simple ways so that you can actually use it in your life to make sure that you are building better habits, building a better life, being strong, being healthy, and managing to sustain this for the long term. So today I'd like to talk to you about being in your 30s. So I am 34 going to 35, and if you are in your 30s, take a moment to think about what's changed for you since your 20s. For me personally, I started to notice that once I crossed into my 30s that I was a lot more tired. It took me longer to recover. Even going out on a night out is so different from when I was in my 20s. So, we change. We may still be living the same lifestyles. Some of you may have a little bit more stress on your plate with kids, husband, maybe a very stressful job. But in my case, for example, I'm by myself. I barely have any stress, and I still feel that, I've felt a lot of changes in my recovery. And this tends to happen as we get older. But that's not the main thing I want to talk about. So, a lot of the time, we're always looking for that perfect body, right? Which doesn't really exist because everyone's perfect body is different. Everyone has different goals and everybody sees beauty in a different way. But once you're in your 30s, my suggestion always is to all of my clients that yes, have those goals. You want to lose body fat, that's great. It's super important because if your goal is to lose body fat, it means that you're trying to build muscle, which is the main thing I want to focus on today. So after 30, having muscle is so important. After 30, we lose about 1% of our bone mass every year. So the higher muscle mass you have, the higher bone mass you have. Now, why is this important? So having higher bone mass or bone density is important because as we get older, we start to get more fragile, right? So if you take a fall, the chances of your fracture healing, if you have less muscle, is going to take much longer, the whole process, because your bone density is less. So building more muscle actually helps you as we keep aging. I'll tell you a story. So my grandmother, completely healthy, completely fit, she had a fall and she broke her ankle. Now she had to have surgery for it because she was quite old. Now going under the knife, all the medication and everything, after the surgery, she was never the same. She struggled a lot. She ended up getting very ill, and then eventually she passed away. Another story, what's quite similar actually, is my grandmother's sister. So this woman lived to, I think she crossed 100, and she was the type of woman who just didn't want anybody to help her when she's walking, and didn't want anyone holding her hand, and she could walk. She refused to use her walker. Unfortunately, she had a fall. After that fall, she was on bed rest, and not long after, she passed away. Both my grandmother and my grandmother's sister, they were quite old. But the point being is that we are more prone to injuring ourselves for the long term if we don't take care of ourselves now. Now is the time, your 30s is really the time to start focusing on yourself, your body, your health, your longevity. In my earlier years as a coach, I used to love doing high intensity CrossFit. I used to teach spin. I had so much fun with it. But as I transitioned into my 30s, I started to recognize that I need something a little bit more sustainable because now, I do know I have a pretty decent amount of muscle, and I have managed to achieve my fat loss goals quite some time ago. And now I train, and I continue training, and I continue lifting weights purely for not falling and not being able to recover from it in a couple of years. So as we get older, it's not just that our bone density starts to decline, but also we start to lose muscle as well. So if you are not working on consistently building your muscle, you're just going to start losing muscle. Hence the story of my grandmother. So at that time, they were obviously not lifting weights or anything like that. So it's a different case, but we have the opportunity to be different from that. We have the opportunity to look at ourselves today and say, I want to be able to go to 100, fall and stand up and just keep on walking, I want to be able to play with my grandkids. I mean, most of you want to do that. You know, you don't want to be weak and being on bed rest. You want to be strong, and in order to do that, we really need to start taking care of ourselves now. So building muscle mass is of utmost important. And the best part is fat loss comes with it. So the higher muscle mass you have, the higher your metabolism gets. And how does this happen? It takes more energy for your body to preserve muscle. And it takes more energy for your body to build and repair muscle. So the higher your muscle mass, the more your body needs to work, which means you are actually burning more when you are in resting phase. So it's a win-win situation. You know, we get to focus on fat loss, you build muscle, you lose fat, you build muscle, you increase your bone density, you increase your longevity, and you don't have to worry about falling and not being able to recover for it. Now, building muscle is not just about going and lifting weights, so we need to understand that as well, right? So how do you build muscle? Yes, we have to put load resistance on a muscle to train it, but we also need to feed the muscle. How do you feed muscle? The only thing that builds muscle is amino acids, which is protein. So in the simplest term, protein. Your eggs, your chicken, your beef, your fish, some cheeses, some beans. And these are things that need to be incorporated in your diet every single day. Because if you are just strength training, but you are not eating the right amount of protein, then you're not actually going to be building muscle. You'll probably just be deteriorating a bit more muscle in the process. Because what we do in the gym, so when you're adding resistance to your weight at the gym, you are, let's say you're doing a bicep curl, with every pump that you're doing, you're actually ripping your muscle, so you're tearing it. And then when we sleep and during the recovery phase, the protein that we've eaten is what builds this muscle. So if you're not eating enough protein, or you're not eating any protein, when you go to bed and your body's ready to do its whole recovery, it's just going to have ripped tiny muscle fibers, and it's not going to build any more. So that's extremely important. So if fat loss is your goal, that's totally fine, because fat loss means you are going to be building muscle, which means you are going to be working towards your longevity. And so we need to understand that, you know, strength training, it's not just about sculpting muscles. You need to be making sure that you are thinking about the long term. You need to make sure that you are eating an adequate amount of protein to be building those muscles, and you need to stay consistent on it. Remember, at the end of the day, we all want to grow old and still be able to walk on 2 feet. Thank you for tuning in to It's Pretty Simple. If you like this episode, please make sure to hit subscribe and give me a thumbs up. And until next time, stay healthy.